Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Memorable Manga. I am Ronny Khuri, Senior Editor, Books for Youth at Booklist. And before we begin, I will go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email that you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. If you want to download them, you can open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. If you're in the audience, you are in listen-only mode, but we do welcome any questions that you may have. So on the bottom of your Zoom screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that pops up. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we can pass along all other questions to today's panelists, and they'll be able to follow up with you after the webinar. We also offer closed captioning on our webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar that I mentioned a moment ago. From there, you can select show or hide captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting caption settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior may, at the discretion of the organizers, be removed. And today we have the pleasure of hearing from Morgan Perry, Marketing Manager at Square Enix, Morgana Santilli, Sales Specialist, and Ingrid Lorenzi, Marketing Assistant, both from Yen Press. John Despacito, Publishing Sales Manager at Viz Media, Jeffrey Lapid, Associate Sales Manager at Mad Cave Studios, and Kathy Taylor, National Accounts Manager at Tuttle Publishing. And first, we will hear from Morgan Perry. In January 2024, Morgan achieved her professional goal of working in manga when she joined Square Enix Manga and Books as their new marketing manager, combining her lifelong love of manga with her past professional experiences to help comic shops, booksellers, and librarians curate and expand their manga offerings and resources. When off the clock, you can usually find Morgan with a large coffee in hand, reading manga on her phone, or excitedly tweeting about something related to comics. Welcome, Morgan.
Hi, thank you guys so much. And thank you guys for joining us for the Booklist manga webinar. My name is Morgan Perry, Marketing Manager for Square Enix Manga and Books. So let's dive into some really great manga. Next slide. First up, we're going to have our recent and upcoming spring releases. So next slide. And we're going to start things off with the Otaku Love Connection, a wacky slice of life rom-com about Wataru Otonari, a high school student who is obsessed with his high school's gorgeous power couple. He is what we call a love otaku. So let's let the shipping begin. Next slide. And while Wataru meets other students who stand as OTP, this self-professed NPC doesn't actually see that he's giving himself main character vibes. He may be a wallflower, but his hidden beauty is on full display for another one of his classmates who's about to draw him in to the hilarious high school drama. Next slide. The Otaku Love Connection pokes fun in the best way at fandom culture. And while Wataru stands his OTP power couple as they are, a BL fangirl would rather see the guy with another guy, and a Yuri fanboy would rather ship the girl with another girl. And it's these dynamics and feelings that are something that anyone who is familiar with otaku culture in manga and anime or other fandoms such as K-pop groups or idols can immediately recognize, relate to, and feel seen in the best way, of course. Next slide. This series is perfect for teens 13 and up who are fans of Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku, Princess Jellyfish, and BL Metamorphosis. And volume 1 of the Otaku Love Connection is available now. Next slide. Next, we have The Emperor's Caretaker. 17 year-old Linhua is the daughter of the high-ranking chancellor of the Right with a gift for childcare and playing music. She finds herself one of the oldest contenders to be the emperor's newest consort. The only problem is that the current emperor is 5 years old. Now, if you think this is a little weird and kind of creepy, don't worry, Linhua thinks so too, and she knows that this is a purely politically motivated move by her father. Next slide. So when she accidentally meets the handsome Soren, the highest-ranking regent and the advisor to the child emperor, and further catches his attention when her eru playing and voice seem to have a calming effect on the young emperor, it's later decided that Linhua will not become the emperor's consort, but rather his personal caretaker, sweeping her up into a world of the inner palace. And her new status as a court lady elevates her desirability as a marriage candidate for her family. And so now we see that her father's plan completely makes sense. Next slide. And what I find charming about the Emperor's caretaker is its comedic timing. While poised and proper, Linhua can also be an absolute strong-willed menace, speaking her mind and using her wit to go toe-to-toe with Soren, our handsome and verbally sadistic love interest, whose favorite pastime is teasing Linhua. Next slide. Between the rich story and the gorgeous artwork, if you're doing well with historical fiction titles such as The Apothecary Diaries or My Happy Marriage or even Danmei novels, The Emperor's Caretaker is a solid recommendation for your patrons. Next slide. It's perfect for teens 13 and up, and volume 1 is available now. Next slide. Our next title is a complete 180 from those two previously, and when we see the word reincarnation and manga put together, our brains immediately think isekai. Well, the god-slaying demon king yells back, not today. This series is pure dark fantasy goodness featuring demons, elves, and a super cute dragon companion. Next slide. The god-slaying demon king stars Hiram, the strongest demon king who's ever lived. And honestly, he's kind of a bit of a benevolent king too. So when he's confronted by a demon god to sacrifice his own people, Hiram defies him openly and engages in a fierce battle. Spoiler alert, he does lose, but he has a contingency plan to be reborn as, next slide, a human, a completely strong and powerful human, ensuring that his demonic abilities and magic are completely intact and virtually undetectable as he journeys to restore his kingdom and defeat the demon god once and for all. Next slide. This series is based off a series of popular light novels in Japan. The God-Slaying Demon King manga adaptation features deep world building that's accessible to any new manga reader, in addition to being gorgeously illustrated by a rising new star. Next slide. The God-Slaying Demon King, sorry, this is a bit of a tongue twister, is a perfect fastball down the middle for fantasy fans, especially if they're already enjoying Delicious in Dungeons, solo leveling, free roam beyond Journey's End, and even Critical Role. Volume 1 is available now, and it's recommended for older teens 16 and up. Next slide. And in another hard pivot, our next series, Wash It All Away, is a vacation for your brain. And in these very trying times, don't we all wish that we could escape to a rural resort town in Japan? At least I do. And when you're reading Wash It All Away, you can. Wakana Kinmei runs a cleaning and restoration business in the resort town of Atami, Japan. She's a pillar of her seaside community, and she's known for her kindness and taking immense pride in her work, especially when it comes to caring for her neighbors' precious items. Next slide. But there's one stain Wakana can't seem to lift. She's suffering from memory loss and unable to recall her memory from 2 years prior. But this story doesn't seem to focus on that darkness, but rather the light that Wakana brings to her community. Next slide. Though it is incredibly through its incredibly likable protagonist and beautiful renderings of Japanese coastal living and bustling city centers, Wash It All Away is perfect for fans of Laid Back Camp or Hirayasumi and could be easily recommended to readers of graphic novels such as Himawari House, This One Summer, and I Feel Awful Thanks. Next slide. Volume 1 is going to be available on April 22nd and is appropriate for older teens 16 and up. Next slide. Next slide. We are off kilter. Just 1 second. Nope, we're good. If your patrons are a fan of Boys Love, you won't want to miss Love in the Palm of His Hand. Even before its official English print licensing announcement at Anime Expo last year, Love in the Palm of His Hand was and continues to be one of the most anticipated BL releases among fans, gaining popularity not only for its gorgeous artwork, but also its captivating story. Next slide. Love in the Palm of His Hand stars Fujinaga, a university student who dreams of being an actor, and after failed audition, he starts to lose confidence in himself. Next slide. Until he meets Keito, a fellow student with congenital hearing loss. Suddenly, Fujinaga finds himself immersed in the world of sign language. Even though he's a bit clumsy at first, he surprises Keito with his ability to express his emotions through hand gestures. Next slide. And what I love about Love in the Palm of His Hand compared to our other BL releases is it's an incredibly poignant and thoughtful and sincere portrayal of the friends to lovers trope, featuring one hearing person and one hard of hearing person through its emotional and artistic use of sign language. Next slide. Arriving in May, this steamy, slow burn, Love in the Palm of His Hand is perfect for fans of A Sign of Affection, I Hear the Sunspot, and novels such as This Is Kind of an Epic Love. Next slide. And our next series is one that I'm personally excited for because, as a longtime manga and comics fan, sometimes you just know when a series is going to hit readers in that special, unique way. And for me, that series is On and Off Work Life Imbalance. Next slide. Satoru Amada is your average everyday office worker who is beloved by his colleagues for his charming good looks and charming attitude. And in his off time, he dresses in Lolita style outfits, fashionable wigs, and adorable accessories, preferring to spend his time shopping for pieces for his next stunning outfit in Harajuku. Next slide. So while his coworker Akira Hanku is also known throughout the office, but for her stern demeanor, and in her off time, Hanku is far from the straight-laced employee that she displays at works, expressing herself through an androgynous punk style of piercing spikes and those iconic creeper shoes. Next slide. When they accidentally meet in the streets of Tokyo in their off time, these two fashionistas form a fast friendship without realizing they're actually coworkers who interact every day. Next slide. On and Off Work-Life Imbalance is a beautiful look at the modern friendship formed while challenging gender norms through fashion, featuring themes of unconditional acceptance, self-expression, and the desire to live freely. It's perfect for fans of Nana, the guy she was interested wasn't a guy at all, My Dress Up Darling, and The Prince and the Dressmaker. And it's headed your way in June, actually June 3rd, so that date is wrong. We got it bumped up a bit. So next slide. Our last spring release is one that fans have been clamoring for online, the Apothecary Diaries art book. Next slide. With over 300 illustrations by the original light novel author, artist Tokushino, fans will be immediately immersed in the historical setting and intriguing character designs of the Apothecary Diaries. Next slide. In addition to rich illustrations spanning the first 14 volumes of the light novel, it also collects unpublished character designs, promotional and exclusive artwork, and an interview with Shino. Next slide. It's a full color jacketed hardcover art book featuring high quality offset text stock, dyed end papers, and a large format that is comprehensive and is a must have for any art book collection. Next slide. The art book arrives in May 6th and is just in time to capture fans of the anime as the second series of the anime comes to a close in June. Next slide. And to close this presentation, we want to give you a sneak peek at what's to come in fall. Next slide. First, Bride of the Death God. Now, if you and your patrons are like me and like your romance of the My Chemical variety, this one might be for you. Bride of the Death God is a romance that blooms between a death god and a woman whom he's come to collect for the afterlife. Our death god is a bit of a jerk who enjoys emotionally torturing his victims before taking them to the afterlife. So when our leading lady, Ivy, simply acknowledges him with a smile, it catches him off guard. Next slide. And that's not Ivy's only fascinating trait to the death god. She's plagued by a disease called bouquet syndrome, which causes flowers to bloom from her body. But Ivy isn't just cute and demure or a damsel in distress. She's actually really manipulative. Next slide. Finding new ways to twist our death god's feelings for her into a pretzel of distress, coaxing him to expand her life beyond the original 7 days that she was originally given. Next slide. And what's fascinating about this series in particular is that when we announced it at last October at Comic-Con, it took off like wildfire. Next slide. It's a beautiful story about enduring love created for teens 13 and up, but please be advised that this series may touch on further topics related to death and suicide and will be available in September 2025. Perfect for fans of the summer Hikaru died. Next slide. Our final series may be something that looks familiar to fans of Square Enix games. We are incredibly proud to bring Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick for the first time in English, which was published almost 30 years ago under the name Dragon Quest: The Emblem of Roto. Next, if you're familiar with the Dragon Quest video game series, the story of Dragon Quest: Mark of Erdrick takes place immediately following the events of Dragon Quest III, which is chronologically the first game in the series. Many years have passed since the legendary hero Erdrick and his companions defeated the forces of evil that plagued the land, and after a century of peace and prosperity, next slide, the world is of course under threat no more. But now Prince Aris, the descendant of the legendary hero, is tasked with standing against a new rising darkness alongside his companions and friends. Next slide. And now you may have noticed some of the artwork and character designs look familiar, and that's because they were inspired by the original character designs illustrated by the late Akira Toriyama, creator of Dragon Balls. So fan of the game series will love the nostalgia that this series naturally brings. But even if you aren't familiar with the world of Dragon Quest, the series serves as a pure fantasy fastball down the middle for teen readers 13 and up who are already enjoying Delicious in Dungeon, Final Fantasy, and even Witch Hat Atelier. Next slide. Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick will also be printed similar to our Perfect Editions, which will be slightly oversized and have more content. The Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick Volume 1 will be available September 2025. Next slide. And that is all from me. Next slide. Please keep in touch via email, social media if you'd like to get the latest news on our upcoming releases, receive PDFs, or have questions. Next slide. We're Square Enix. Next slide. Uncover Unforgettable. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Morgan. Next, we will hear from Morgana Santilli and Ingrid Lorenzi. Morgana is the sales specialist at Yen Press. She is a former comics shop manager and buyer and always particularly loved helping readers find their new favorite series. Other than reading manga, Morgana enjoys drinking lots of tea, snuggling with her two black cats, crocheting, and collecting too many books for her children's personal library. Ingrid is the marketing assistant at Yen Press, a former bookseller and used book buyer at the Strand Books. She is an avid fantasy reader and advocate for translated works. Aside from collecting old books and trying to win over her cat's affection, she spends her days scavenging for the best bubble tea places in the city and taking strolls in Central Park. Thank you very much for being here today, Morgana and Ingrid.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Once again, my name is Morgana Santilli. I am sales specialist at Yen Press. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Ingrid.
Hello, thank you for having us. I'm Ingrid Lorenzi, the marketing assistant at Yen Press.
And we're going to dive right in and talk to you about some books we have upcoming. I'm going to hand it over to Ingrid for the first half of the presentation.
All right, so starting strong with this April, we have Tamaki Amane from the incredible mangaka Fumi Yoshinaga, the creator of Oku and What Did You Eat Yesterday. If you enjoy stories that grip your heart and never let go, then Tamaki Amane should be your next pick. Next slide, please. This title begins with a discovery. Tamaki Amane, a married couple, find out that their daughter is in love with her female classmate, and this sparks a conversation between them about their own prejudices and past same-sex attraction in Amane's case. We then jump to the past and see these two interact with each other all in different period of times and genders. Next slide, please. Now, Tamaki Amane does not only deal with LGBTQ themes. Themes of war, sickness, women's role in society are also included. However, this work's central theme is everlasting love in all its different forms and shapes. Next slide, please. The title will be available soon on April 22nd, so if you're a fan of the mangaka or historical manga, don't hesitate to add the Tamaki Amane to your own collection. Next slide, please. Another release that I would make sure to pick up this spring is A Witch Life in Mongol, which has actually just been greenlit for an anime adaptation. This historical manga is all about a female friendship and woman's determination in ancient times. Next slide, please. Set in the 13th century, A Witch Life in Mongol follows Fatima, a former slave from Persia who actually becomes a lady in waiting in the imperial harem of the Mongol Empire. The second female lead instead is Torjin, the sixth wife of Ogedei and the lady that Fatima has to serve. Together, these two will not only seek to improve the royal court through scientific innovations, but also enact their own personal revenge against their empire. Next slide, please. Something that I really enjoyed about this title is its unique art style that is kind of reminiscent of ancient Persian and medieval manuscripts. If you enjoy Persepolis, then this title should also appeal to your own aesthetics. Next slide, please. This title is also perfect for fans of a bride story for its deeply researched world building that truly captures the charms and ideals of both the Persian and Mongol societies. Religion, Islam in this case, is also a big part of this series, and I think it is done beautifully. The first volume comes out on May 27, and it's sure to be an incredible addition to any historical reader shelf. Next slide, please. Next up, we have a crowd pleaser. If you enjoyed stories like Spy Family or Assassination Classroom, then Kindergarten Wars should be on your TBR list. Next slide, please. The protagonist of this series is Rita, a former assassin who struck a deal with the government in exchange for her freedom. The price to pay? Well, if she can survive 1 year by working as a lovely kindergarten teacher, then all her past sins are forgiven and she can get off scot-free. Problem is that this kindergarten is constantly under attacks because its children are actually the young masters of the VIPs of the world. Next slide, please. And while Rita might be the strongest assassin, she has her own personal weakness. She is in desperate need and want of a boyfriend, and is absolutely heads over heels for pretty faces, even if the handsome man in question might be another assassin. Next slide, please. So as you heard, the Kindergarten Wars is a very fun read. Of course, you have fighting scenes and plenty of guns and weapons, but everything is masterfully balanced with a rich comedy and everyday interactions between the children and the teachers. The first volume also releases this May, so don't forget to check it out. Next slide, please. Another title that is coming out this May is the collector's edition of the Spice and Wolf manga. We first published the first volume of the manga adaptation of Spice and Wolf back in 2010, and now we're offering a deluxe collected edition. Next slide, please. For the unfamiliar, Spice and Wolf is a story about romance and economics in the medieval times. The story follows Krat Lawrence, a traveling merchant, and Hollow, a wolf deity. Much of the story is about the two of them facing new adventures, discovering new trade opportunities, and falling in love as they travel back towards Hollow's hometown. Most recently, the series also received an anime reboot, bringing in a new wave of readers. So, if you don't have the original series, now's the perfect time to add this title to your own collection. Next slide, please, and I will bring it back to Morgana.
Thanks, Ingrid. All right, we're going to look a little bit ahead into June now. The first title I have to present to you is The 13th Footprint. If the name Kei Sambe sounds familiar, that is because he's the creator behind the series Erased, which did receive both an anime adaptation and a live-action television drama on Netflix. So this is a creator whose work is well known. And this one follows a family who returns home after their son's release from the hospital. And upon return, they start to receive these mysterious postcards. And each postcard details an event that takes place the next day. Next slide, please. So the 13th Footprint pulls on themes that Sambe has used in his other works, like Erased and for the Kid I Saw in My Dreams, these ideas of mystery and time and memory. And it's a great read for certainly for anybody who's a fan of his other works, but also just any fans of mysteries, family dramas, and kind of the way that time and space influence how to solve a mystery or how we perceive things. So definitely keep an eye out for this. Again, a great read for anybody who loves a little bit of mystery. Next slide, please. Superstring Marco Polo's Travel to the Multiverse is a really interesting title. If that artwork looks familiar to anyone, that is because it is done by Boichi, who is the creator behind Dr. Stone. So once again, a creator who is very well known. But this is a very unique series. This is a story about the historical Marco Polo, but with a little bit of an otherworld twist. Instead of traveling, excuse me, across the Asian continent, this story's Marco Polo travels across dimensions. Next slide, please. This series originally ran online webtoon and has a really cool multiverse concept. So much like Marvel's concept of the multiverse, stories within the multiverse that Superstring is part of will cross over with each other. And one of the stories that it crosses over with is Jungle Juice, out from our own Eyes Press imprint. So it has that really that appeal for readers of more traditional superhero comics, where you can see characters coming from all different worlds into each other's stories. Again, this was originally available to read on Webtoon, where it's received over 1.1 million views. It's a great read for fans of adventure stories and for fans of really awesome dynamic art and reimagined history. Next slide, please. Taking a bit of a turn here, we're looking into July. Suzuki-kun's Mindful Life is a really charming story. It's a sweet story about a tough-looking high school boy, Suzuki. He's tall, he's intimidating, but actually he doesn't really have a mean bone in his body. He loves sweets, he loves crafts, he loves flowers. He's a very, what we might call a gentle giant. And one day, in the beginning of school, he's saved from a confrontation, excuse me, by a classmate who doesn't look like he'd be as tough as he is. But he saves Suzuki-kun, and the two form an unlikely friendship. Next slide, please. Once again, this is a really sweet, charming story that tackles gender stereotypes. It's great for fans of series like Otomen, which came out some time ago. But that was definitely, I think, for all of us in the sales and marketing department, we're like, oh, like Otomen, that was a great series. So if you have fans of kind of high school stories who are interested in a more slice of life friendship tale, this would be a great pick. And next slide, please. Last, but certainly not least, comes one of my most anticipated releases of this year. This isn't coming out until August, but I really wanted to talk to you about it. Land is a psychological horror mystery series that revolves around a village where all the residents die by the age of 50. The village has ties to an other world that exists beyond the mountains, and the protagonist, An, her older twin sister, was sacrificed to this world in order to maintain a semblance of peace for the villagers. This is an intense, fascinating series told through the perspective of a child trapped in an oppressive environment. The series explores themes of rural isolation, folkloristic beliefs, and has really awesome and interesting character and creature designs. Next slide, please. This is a great pick for fans of Japanese horror. While I think it's very different in a lot of ways from the works of, say, Junji Ito or even our own The Summer Hikaru Died, I do see that there's a crossover appeal for fans of those. Maybe that's because I'm a fan of those and I'm also very excited about this. But I also see it being a really great read for anybody who's interested in Japanese folklore and monsters, yokai stories. We are publishing this in a hardcover 3-in-1 omnibus. It's great for collections, a nice sturdy offering for libraries as well. I know that's often a problem with manga. Because we're publishing it in a 3-in-1 and it was originally 11 volumes in Japanese, this should be complete in 4 volumes. Next slide, please. That'll be all for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Please feel free to reach out to me, morgana.santilli@yenpress.com, if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Yen Press. Next, we will hear from John Despacito. John is the publishing sales manager at Viz Media, where he works with librarians and comic shop retailers to promote and celebrate Viz Media manga. He currently lives in San Francisco, California, and enjoys cooking, hiking, and horror films. The floor is yours, John.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Viz has a really exciting spring list that I'm excited to dive into. So if we move on to the next slide, the first title of which is the first of 3 all ages titles I have to share today, and that is Minecraft the Manga. Here you get to join 10-year-old Nico on a blocky adventure in Minecraft the Manga. This is the first official manga set in the Minecraft universe. With the live action movie having such a huge premiere, we're excited for fans to discover their favorite game and now film in the manga form. On the next slide, you can see the Minecraft manga kind of coming to life, really taking aspects and artwork from the game itself and putting it into manga form, which I think it translates to just extremely well, and kids will be really excited for. Our next all ages title on the next slide is Beyblade X. Here you can get ready to battle in Beyblade X, the latest high-speed showdown based on the globally popular game. As bladers fight their way to the top of X Tower with new technology and fierce competition, the excitement is building, especially with Beyblade celebrating its 25th anniversary and the recent anime premiering. On the next slide, you can see here that one of the things that I love the most about this title is that it incorporates the game itself into the story here. So not only are fans getting to connect with the characters in the manga, but getting to learn more about the game and the strategy itself. Our next title is Spider-Man Kazuna. This is another Spider-Man title on our list, but what's great about this one is that it is all ages. It definitely skews a bit younger as it follows you, a shy boy who suddenly inherits Spider-Man's powers and learns what it truly means to be a hero. On the next slide, you'll see the interior images are just a bit more playful than other Spider-Man manga that we publish, like Spider-Man Fake Red or Spider-Man Octagirl. It definitely has more of a cutesy vibe to it while still keeping the classic Spider-Man storyline and classic villains like the Green Goblin you see here, but just more in a cute and fun way that's more approachable for kids. Our next title begins a bunch of titles that will be rated T for teen, so for middle grade and up. This first one here is Disney Twisted Wonderland, the manga, the Book of Savannah Claw. Here we're transported to Knights Raven College, a prestigious magic school ruled by villains. You gets caught up in the drama of its powerful dorm leaders, This installment, based on Disney Twisted Wonderland's mobile game, spotlights the Savannah Claw dollworm, which is modeled after characters from The Lion King. This series follows the success of Disney Twisted Wonderland, the manga Hearts of Abuya, which followed a dorm inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So we're really getting to see these Disney villains really brought to life in a new, fun, and imaginary way. On the next slide, you'll see those characters really brought to life, the idea of being on a throne for the Lion King, and some of the characters taking on some of our favorite characters' tropes and kind of signifiers. Fans have been connecting to the Twisted Wonderland series in a big way, especially with an anime coming out this fall. We're expecting a lot from this one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. On the next slide, we have a personal favorite of mine, and that is Rory Dragon. Rory's world is turned upside down when she learns she's half dragon. Juggling high school, awkward moments, and emerging powers, she faces the ups and downs of teen life with a magical twist in this heartwarming, humorous slice of life tale. I like to think of it as a bit of a mashup between Pixar's Turning Red and Comey Can't Communicate. On the next slide, you'll see that our protagonist's powers kind of comes out in unexpected moments. I think it's a really nice allegory for puberty and kind of all the changes that a young teen experiences while dealing with the social anxieties of just kind of school life as well. And that's brought out here in a really fun way. On the next slide, you'll see another title, Girl Crush. When this series was first pitched to me, the editor stated that the main character has really big Regina George energy from Mean Girls. And that was really all I needed to get hooked on this spirited series about the super competitive world of pop idol training. This series is really perfect for fans of skip beat, K-pop, and reality shows alike. On the next slide, you can see some of the art here. I think it really has that girl group feel to it, like Little Mix, or even kind of a Britney Spears feel to it. I think it'll connect to really fans of music and K-pop in a really big way. On the next slide, we have Not So Shoujo Love Story. In this one, Rai, a tough high school delinquent, dreams of romance with the popular Hansum. But things get messy when her rival Hana confesses to her instead. From basketball fights to alien sightings, chaos and comedy unfold in this wild, slow burn love story full of school drama and unexpected feelings. It's based off the popular webtoon, and if you look on the next slide, you'll see that it is in full color, which really brings the series to life in a fun way. On the next slide, you'll see another title, Snow Angel. We've recently been receiving a lot of requests for manga with adult protagonists, and I think this is a really special one. It tells the story of a reunion amongst childhood friends and gives a depressed young caregiver the push she needs to live for herself, break free from her oppressive family, and find love. On the next slide, you'll see some of the interiors, which I think you can see is a bit darker and introspective, and I think will really be great for older, kind of older readers leaving school and kind of blossoming into the college age. Our next title is a more action-packed one, and that's Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. The ninja adventure continues in this second series featuring Boruto. Boruto is the son of one of the most popular manga characters ever, Naruto, and this is going to be expanding on the original series and just taking a few new twists and turns. On the next slide, you can see some of that kind of classic manga style here that we've come to know from this series, and I think fans will really enjoy. On the next slide, we have Kaiju number 8 B-Sides. This is a Kaiju number 8 spin-off that dives into the backstories of fan favorite characters, enriching the original with a mix of comedy, drama, and expanded lore that adds to the depth and context of the series' thrilling world. On the next slide, you can see some of the interiors here, which I think really add some new depth and excitement to some fan favorite characters. Our next title is Dogs Red, and this will kick off our Teen Plus section. So for maybe think high school grade and up. This is a dramatic and action-packed ice hockey series from the creator of Golden Kamuy. It follows a high schooler who, after the tragic passing of his mother, is gets into a bit of a scuffle and is then banned from figure skating. He moves to a new town, and because of his love to skate, he takes up ice hockey. He joins an underdog team and helps them succeed in a really big way. I think it's really reminiscent of stories like The Mighty Ducks or even Haiku. And on the next slide, you can see the absolutely amazing artwork that comes to life and that bringing this skating alive, which I think is really special. Our next title is The Bugle Call, Song of War. This is another personal favorite of mine. In a post-apocalyptic world reverted to medieval times, a young bugler with supernatural powers is drawn into an epic battle for the world's fate. It's a real classic sword and sorcery fantasy with futuristic twists. On the next slide, you could see the artwork here. I think it draws a lot of comparisons to Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And for the story itself, the editor likes to compare it to Game of Thrones meets X-Men, which I think is just the ultimate combo, which I was super excited to hear. Our next title is The Climber. This comes from the creator of #Dracula. It's a really stunning, epic title about a free solo climber in Japan trying to reach the highest peaks. On the next slide, you'll see some of the amazing artwork. It's a real introspective story about a young man really just trying to find himself. On the next slide, we have Firefly Wedding. This title has been absolutely blowing up on TikTok and has gone viral in a really big way. It's quite different from some of the shoujo releases we've had in the past. It's filled with action and mystery. It follows a young woman who, while she is sick, instead of kind of succumbing to her sickness, she tries everything to save her family, including offering to marry the assassin who is trying to kill her. On the next slide, you can see just kind of the fun and action also mixed with a bit of romance here, which I think is really special. And then next up, we have a new title from the horror master, Junji Ito, and that is The Liminal Zone Volume 2. This is another short story collection. And while it is a volume 2, it is set in the same universe, but is not a direct continuation of the story. But you can expect all the classic Junji Ito styles. If you check out the next slide, you'll see a lot of that creepy, eerie style that we're used to from Junji Ito. And next up is Mujina Into the Deep. This is from the creator of Goodnight Poon Poon, and it's a gritty dystopian thriller where human rights are commodities. It's dark, it's bloody, it's packed with twisted humor, and a must for fans of intense character-driven action. On the next slide, you could see some of that darkness and kind of noir thriller aspect to it as well. Our next title is One Piece Heroines. This is a really great One Piece light novel that follows the female protagonist of One Piece and expands just a bit on their stories for fans to get to know a bit better. And our last title is, sorry, next slide. The last one here is Dr. Masharito's Ultimate Manga Techniques. And I'm just a bit out of time here, so I'll just wrap up and say that this is a really great title for anyone looking to get to know a bit more about manga itself, about the styling, how to draw it. Really great for any library collection, for anyone looking to expand on their knowledge of manga. And that's it for me. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed our spring list.
Thanks, John. Next, we will hear from Jeffrey Lapid. Jeffrey is a publishing professional with over 10 years of experience working with comic books, graphic novels, and children's picture books. He lives in Los Angeles, California. Take it away, Jeffrey.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Lapid. I am the Associate Sales Manager of Mad Cave Studios and our imprint, Maverick, Papercuts, and the new Nakama Press. Next slide, please. Nakama Press is our brand new imprint dedicated to publishing stories that will resonate from east to west, bringing the vibrant world of manga from Japan, manhwa from Korea, manhua from China, manfra from France, and original English language manga to readers of all ages. I'll be talking about 5 of our upcoming series for this summer, which is Nakama Press's inaugural season. I'm going to apologize in advance for my clumsy pronunciation, but I assure you my heart is in the right place. Next slide, please. Indigo. Indigo is our first Nakama Press book. It's by Chinese creators and brothers Chi Ho and Chi Kit Kwang. Ella is a reporter for an occult magazine, living what appears to be a normal life, except she has the special ability to sometimes know what other people are thinking. She also possesses an extreme sensibility, which enables her to communicate with plants and animals. Ella is going to need to learn more about her special abilities as she gets caught up in investigating the mysterious death of her college professor and mentor. I think what I like most about Indigo is that it starts out as a murder mystery, but as the layers get peeled back, it takes some really strange turns as Ella learns more and more how things start to connect. It sometimes feels like that one meme of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's standing in front of the big conspiracy board, Pepe Sylvia, that one. But next slide. But as the mystery and the wild connections deepen, what starts out as a murder investigation develops into a really trippy, cosmic, existential fantasy story about the interconnectedness of life with the entire fate of the universe at stake. Indigo just received a great review from Kirkus Reviews, they called it a stunning, immersive, and thought-provoking mystery that plays with modern esoterica. Indigo comes out in May, and it's going to be perfect for readers who like the trippy eco-consciousness of things like Swamp Thing, and the epic yet still personal scale of the light novel series, Why Does Nobody Remember Me in This World? Next slide, please. We're going to shift gears here with our next series, Infinity Force by Ukyo Kodachi and Tatsuma Ejiri. It all begins when high school student Emi Kaido received a mysterious wish-granting pencil. With her life on the line, Emi uses the pencil to call upon heroes for protection. Gatchaman, Tekkaman, Kashan, Polymar. These defenders of justice cross space and time to help Emi weave the greatest tale of all time. Our protagonist Emi is sort of a directionless and a little bit of an airhead, which is fine because I am too. Emi's got no real ambitions or plans beyond what her next tasty snack will be. And through a weird twist of fate, Emi finds herself in the possession of the mysterious Possibility Pencil, a magical pencil that grants wishes. When Emi is caught in the middle of a convenience store robbery, she uses the Possibility Pencil to wish for heroes to protect and save everyone. And then suddenly Ken the Eagle, leader of the Gatchaman team, appears from thin air to stop the robbery. Next slide, please. All of that seems great until they realize that Ken is stuck in Emi's world, and even worse, Ken wasn't the only thing that the Possibility Pencil summoned, because where there are heroes, there are also villains. Infinity Force is a fun manga series that really finds a nice balance between high school slice of life humor and high action superheroic beatdowns. Anime and manga fans will get a kick out of seeing some of Tatsunoku's greatest characters joining forces in an action-packed adventure. It's basically like Marvel's The Avengers, but with Tatsunoku characters. Next slide, please. The first 2 volumes of Infinity Force come out in June, and the third will be out in August. It's a 10-volume series, so fans of Tatsunoku characters will have plenty of Infinity Force to enjoy. Next slide, please. Next up, we have God Tier. The mysterious anarchist Typhon, the god of monsters, has sparked a fire that has spread across the world. Pablo Costello and his sister Anna are trapped in between the raging battle between gangs, police, gods, and monsters. Next slide, please. God Tier is by the creative team of Mario B. Long and Kuroi, and it is our first original English language manga series. God Tier was conceived during Mario's time in quarantine in Tokyo during the early days of the COVID pandemic. Inspired by the chaos unfolding across the world, he created a story of gods and monsters waging war on humanity, drawing inspiration from classic mythologies and modern dystopian cinema. Mario says, I drew inspiration from cult classics like Clash of the Titans, Escape from New York, The Matrix, and Interstellar. The story took shape while I was quarantining in Tokyo during the early days of the COVID pandemic, and like Pablo in God Tier, I was overwhelmed by the chaos unfolding across the world and longed to be reunited with my family. I wanted to reimagine gods and monsters through fresh perspectives while weaving in modern social issues. Personally, I think God Tier is going to be something really different from any sort of modern reinterpretation of Greek mythology. Mario and Kuroi have put together some really fresh takes on the Greek gods. And while I was reading this, I found myself just sort of slack-jawed at what they were doing. I think a lot of the modern updates on Greek mythology, they tend to shy away from the more dark aspects of the mythology, but God Tier just fully embraces that, and it works, especially since it, at its core, it's about the main characters finding a way to survive through a really dark time. Next slide. Volume 1 of God Tier comes out in June, and you won't have to wait too long to find out what happens next to Pablo and Anna, because we'll have Volume 2 out in August. Next slide, please. The Theory of KO. Our next book here is by French creator Mathieu René. Sometime in the near future, after years of health, economic, and ecological crises, a global civil war breaks out, ignited by a huge pharmaceutical and political scandal denounced by the activist group Chaos. Next slide. 15 years later is where we meet the orphaned free fighter Beck. The world is picking up the pieces after the global civil war, and people have been herded into large urban centers that are overrun with military and medical surveillance technology. Those who refuse the corrupt system have fled to free rural areas where the only law is survival by any means. Beck wanders the rural territories in search of her missing mentor, Cal. Her search leads her to Bajara, a town known for its free fighting competitions. In order to get answers and to find Cal, Beck must fight her way to the top of Bajara's illegal fighting rings. Theory of KO is Nakama Press's first mantra release. It's got the sort of satirical anarchist sensibility of Fight Club and the kinetic action and unique character designs of things like the Last Man series or Baki the Grappler. It's got a healthy dose of social commentary, but what I like about it is that it never loses sight of delivering the thrilling, hard action scenes. Next slide, please. The Architect's Epiphany. This is the last title for our first season. This one's also by Chi Ho and Chi Kit Kwong, the creators of Indigo. With pride and a deep sense of purpose, shaman Ling Tiber and city builder Ocean Hacklin embark on a desperate quest to preserve light in a time of ruin. As the great city of Aishan crumbles, they face monstrous beasts, ancient secrets, and the reckoning of their civilization's own hubris. Architect's Epiphany is a richly illustrated saga full of unforgettable characters, striking world building, and a powerful message about perseverance in the face of despair. This book won the Silver Award and the Best Character Design Award at the inaugural Hong Kong Comics Support Awards in 2022. And we're really going to be just excited to be publishing it in English for the first time. Next slide, please. It's a dark fantasy quest that's as surprising as it is action-packed. It follows this band of misfits that uses the strange power of a magical guitar as they embark on a bloody post-apocalyptic adventure. It's basically the Six-String Samurai meets Berserk. And if that doesn't sound awesome to you, I don't know what to tell you. It's a guy with a magic guitar, and he's on a quest to rebuild civilization by fighting evil and bringing light to the darkness. What else do you need from a manga? I just love Chi Kit's art. His character design's a lot of fun. The Berserk influence is pretty apparent, and it's very welcome, but the story and art also take a lot of inspiration from Lord of the Rings, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Nausicaa. Architect's Epiphany will come out in August. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Next slide. And that's all for me. Feel free to contact me, glapid at madcavestudios.com. If you got any questions on any of our books, happy to send over samples, previews, whatever you need. Thank you to Booklist, and thank you to all the fellow panelists, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. And thanks for checking out Nakama Press.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Finally, we will hear from Kathy Taylor. Kathy is the National Accounts Manager at Tuttle Publishing, based in North Clarendon, Vermont. A former indie bookseller, she loves connecting readers with their next perfect book. When not selling books, she enjoys cooking, hiking, and spending time with her two cats. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Taylor, and I'm the National Accounts Manager at Tuttle Publishing. And I am super excited to share a few of our upcoming and backlist titles with you today. So first up, we have Haruki Murakami Manga Stories 3, which is the third and final volume in Tuttle's series of manga adaptations of classic Murakami short stories. It's been reimagined and illustrated by the French team of JC Devaney and PMGL, and it's the first series to adapt several of Murakami's best-loved stories into manga style. So this third volume presents the two stories, Scheherazade and Sleep, which are tales that are connected by themes of loss, remorse, and confusion. Originally published in 2014 in The New Yorker, Scheherazade tells the story of a housebound man visited by a mysterious woman whom he calls Scheherazade. Scheherazade brings the man provisions, but also provides other nourishment in the form of storytelling, of course, which slowly begins to blur the line between realism and fantasy. The story's essential mysteries, why, for example, is the man confined to his house, offer up a host of imagined possibilities, heightened by the manga's dreamy, ominous illustrations. And then the second story, Sleep, was part of Murakami's first published short story collection, The Elephant Vanishes, which came out all the way back in 1993. Beautiful and heartbreaking, the narrative follows a housewife who has suddenly lost the ability to sleep. Living in this half-awake, half-asleep state, she exists at the border of reality and the dream world, retreating into literature as an escape from her daily existence. It's a story that asks profound questions, and the haunting illustrations really linger with you. These adaptations really do preserve the intellect, the depth, and the humor that are all present in Murakami's stories, while I think also offering a new way of reading and imagining his writing. And if you'd like to complete the Murakami Manga Stories series, Tuttle also has two previous volumes that are perfect for both die-hard Murakami fans and newcomers to his body of work. From Kafkaesque parables to a giant talking frog, these manga's detailed, evocative illustrations conjure up Murakami's surreal worlds and get right to the heart of his stories. And then our next title, which is pubbing this September, is Sun Tzu's The Art of War, the manga version. Everyone, I think, is probably familiar with The Art of War, which amazingly dates all the way back to the 5th century BC. So this manga isn't an exact adaptation of Sun Tzu's classic, but rather a retelling of the story that gave birth to his masterpiece. Brimming with battles, betrayals, and political intrigues, this book recounts the conflict between the kingdom of Wu as they plot to attack the far more powerful state of Chu. The leaders of both kingdoms must navigate internal plots and power struggles that will forever alter the fate of China. At the center of the story is the political ascent of Sun Tzu and his rise through the ranks of the formidable Wu clan. Readers will discover how he created the military strategies and revolutionary philosophies integral to the art of war. His teachings eventually take center stage at the high-stakes Battle of Boju, a showdown that becomes legendary in the chronicles of military history. Dramatic and action-packed, this manga plunges the reader into this incredible period of Chinese history and brings to life the ambition, sacrifice, and relentless pursuit of victory behind the creation of the art of war. And now we have Lala, the Memory Collector, which is coming out this month. This is a young adult manga that's really great for grades 7 to 12. It's a really, really sweet story that follows the heroine Lala, who seems, from the outsider's perspective, like a normal girl. She loves music, has great friends and family, but of course is not as typical as she first appears. She is actually a collector from the Memory clan, which is a group of enchanted beings who are called upon to remember the lives of every human after their death. Collecting and preserving memories from the recently deceased, the purpose of the clan is to keep each person's unique story alive, as no two people or two lifetimes are the same. Although it's a noble purpose, Lala has trouble following the clan's golden rule. Never get involved in human affairs. Delving a little too deeply into mortals' lives, Lala will ultimately risk losing everything and everyone she holds dear. It's been lovingly told and illustrated by author Sui Kono, and it weaves a poignant tale of life, death, and one girl's desire to understand what it means to be human. And now we have How to Connect, Share, and Play Safely Online, which is a parenting manual geared towards teaching preteens and teens how to stay safe online while keeping them engaged through a fun manga style. Every kid is excited to get a smartphone, but it's important to teach them how to use them responsibly. So this book, written by a former Japanese police detective, gives young readers the tools they need to avoid and deal with the dangers found in the digital world. Told through an engaging mix of comics, sidebars, infographics, and real-life examples, this book's important lessons include how to spot fake news and online scams, and how to refrain from sharing sensitive data and personal information. Even adults struggle with navigating the online world, and it gets harder each year. So this manga really will give kids a great foundation and lesson book so they can have fun and stay safe. And it is a great way for parents to have conversations with kids about these topics. And now we have Tales of the Kyoto Ghost Story Priest. When the people of Kyoto are terrorized by spirits, demons, ghosts, and monsters, they seek out Daiun Miki, a real-life priest at Renkyuji Temple. He's known throughout Japan as the Ghost Story Priest, and here he retells the stories of the desperate people he counsels and protects from these otherworldly creatures. The 11 spine-chilling true stories in this book include Broken Mirrors, in which a couple starts seeing more than their reflections in their home's mirrors. Kokeshi Doll Mother, in which an orphan girl's powerful bond with her precious doll has deadly consequences. And The Monster of Fanoko Mountain, in which a group of boys finds that the ghostly rumors surrounding a haunted park might actually be true. Meticulously adapted by manga artist Setsuya Morino, Tales of the Kyoto Ghost Story Priest will satisfy and spook any true crime lovers. So here, Akutagawa is really regarded as the father of the Japanese short story. Rashomon and Other Stories, the manga edition, adapts 4 of his iconic stories into stunning graphic novellas. 2 of these stories, Rashomon and In a Grove, served as the inspiration for Kurosawa's classic film. Tackling questions of morality, justice, and honor in a fallen world, the narratives share a core of dread and darkness captured by the striking drawings. Akutagawa's Hell Screen echoes these themes in a chilling tale about artistic obsession and the price of perfection. A brilliant yet mean-spirited artist is tasked by the local lord with painting a monumental screen depicting the torments of hell. Having proclaimed he cannot paint what he has never seen, the artist dedicates himself to a project that eventually pushes the boundaries of morality in his quest for visual authenticity. It's a masterful, haunting exploration of the sacrifices demanded by art. Tuttle also offers great manga titles for nonfiction lovers that are useful for younger readers or anyone looking for an accessible, engaging entry point into Japanese history. History of Japan and Manga packs nearly 2,000 years of Japanese history into one volume, combining manga dramatizations with maps, charts, and family trees. From civil wars to feudal intrigue, legendary figures to the modern era of World War II, this book is the perfect introduction to Japanese history. Japan's longest day zeroes in on the period immediately following the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the drama surrounding the emperor's decision to ultimately surrender. And we're going to go to the next slide because I think I'm running out of time. So we have Soseki Natsumi's classics in manga. Soseki is one of the most significant modern Japanese writers. Bochan is a classic coming-of-age tale, which is great for young adult readers. It's humorous and satirical. Kokoro deals with more darker themes, has to do with shame and guilt and alienation, so maybe a bit of an older reader there. And next slide. And now we have 2 manga stories about Musashi, who continues to be a huge popular figure, especially in popular culture. So The Real Musashi tells about his life and story and how he became the legendary figure he is today. The Book of Five Rings picks up that story and focuses on what brings him to write the Book of Five Rings, which is his great military masterpiece. And next slide. So last but certainly not least, we have Kenji Miyazawa, who is another beloved author and poet from the early 20th century. A Night on the Galactic Railway focuses on a lonely boy who discovers hope and inspiration on a celestial train with his friends. And A Restaurant of Many Orders and Other Stories presents 3 modern fables, and these will appeal to imaginative readers of all ages. Next slide. And I have truly enjoyed being here today. Thank you so much. Feel free to reach out at any of those channels, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing about these books. And have a great day.
Thanks, Kathy, and another big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. Visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now Blue Sky. And just a note that we are no longer on X, so please find us on these other channels for the latest Booklist news and updates. We are thrilled to announce that the digital version of Booklist Reader, the monthly reader's advisory magazine from the editors of Booklist, is now an ALA member benefit. Head over to our new and updated site to start reading. And if you're not already a Booklist subscriber, you can use your ALA membership ID to sign in. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. One more big thanks to our panelists and to our sponsors, Square Enix, Yen Press, Viz Media, Nakama Press, and Tuttle Publishing. This concludes today's webinar.